Many fans here in this
Hello, fellow disc golf enthusiasts, and welcome back to coverage of the 2023 Åland Open, 7th stop of the PDGA Euro Tour. We are here in the Nordic archipelagos of the Baltic Sea at Vesterkalmare Disc Golf Course in the Åland Islands, and we are excited to be bringing you round 3 front 9 lead card action with some absolutely fantastic players and an incredible course. I'm Connor Wood, and with me, Elias Luukkonen.
What is up, Connor? What is up, viewers? Nice to be here once again. Gonna be an exciting final round with Eagle McMahon leading the competition. First player on our card having that 2-stroke lead after a hot 14 under second round. He has a very suitable game for this course.
Another player with a suitable game, Miro Ryhänen, had an incredible ending to round 2, shooting a perfect back 9 and an incredible birdie streak throughout the round. He has positioned himself on this lead card and ready to continue his breakout performance.
And here's one player that is no stranger to European wins, both throughout the career and also for this season, Niklas Anttila. Arguably the best player in Europe, and the rating would agree with that.
And rounding out our lead card, a traveler here from the United States, Matt Bell, an incredible putter of the disc, a great thrower as well, and his skill set has brought him here to this lead card. He is currently tied for 4th with a few players having the best performance from round 2 did make the cut for lead card in round 3, our final day. We get started here on hole 1. A 75-meter par 3 with an initial high floor and a gap to hit. Players then break out into this open fairway which slopes right to left. A lot of players may be tempted into throwing a hyzer shape, although you really just want something straight flying, and often the hillside will pull your disc down and to the left. You have OB along the left side if you do kick on a tree. A very attackable hole to get started for our lead card.
Minus 23, all the way from Boulder, Colorado, and sponsored by Discmania, Eagle McMahon.
An eagle here, even though he's known for his big, long drives off the tee, he's got some decent touch, especially now that he can't use the forehand. Feel like he's gained a lot of touch with those backhand putter shots. Gonna show it off on this hole 1.
As we see him put a lot of speed on that low speed disc, quite some spins. He finds himself at about 7 meters for the putt. Once again firing along, similar to round 2. That straight penetrating flight really doing him well. Fading out early left is the most common danger, alongside overturning it too early to the right. The pure straight shot with a touch of turn and a touch of fade is really ideal.
Looks like that's what Miro has got here. Needs to slow down though. He has also gone long off the basket. Still well in the circle. Good first shot though.
Minus 20 from Finland, sponsored by Discmania, Niklas Anttila.
Niklas here has been putting together an incredible season so far. Really comfortable with the bright lights and the attention that comes with the lead card, as well as being currently one of the highest rated players in Europe. A lot of expectations on this young man, and really able to handle the pressure well. Niklas Anttila on the tee of 1.
He's going with his go-to sensei there. A very low shot, but gets a decent result. He's going to be on the edge of the circle there. Maybe even a touch inside.
From New Jersey, USA, sponsored by Bolt Space Athletics EV7, Matt Bell.
And Matt Bell, as Connor mentioned earlier, one of the more amazing putters you're gonna find, especially from Circle 2. He has some good touch as well on the disc. Not really showing it off on this first hole as he has kicked towards the OB left. Looks like he does stay inbounds though. Gonna have a tricky putt for the birdie on the starting hole. It's a pretty easy starting hole, playing almost a quarter of a stroke below par in average.
And we see this beautiful overhead shot showing you the gallery. Some palpable excitement here in round 3 from both the locals and the field who have completed their rounds. Matt giving it a strong bid, putting the body on the line there.
Maybe without branch. And Niklas, this is a huge putt to start off the round. Doesn't want to lose any strokes to anybody on the card, and he's on the pole. I believe in round 2, Niklas actually was putting, only had one miss from circle 1 and made everything from circle 2. So he's putting very well right now and continuing that streak with a dead center putt on hole 1 here.
Incredible performance. That circle 2 statistic often coming into play here on this course. The greens can be very fast and quite rocky. We see Miro cashing a beautiful birdie putt there, keeping up pace with Niklas. And Eagle sitting at 23 under, coming in with a 2-stroke lead, has this putt now to retain a 2-stroke cushion over both Niklas and Miro. Although not an easy putt, narrow on both the width and the height.
Eagle has also been putting very well, made multiple circle 2 putts in round 2, but that is just too low there, slightly on the left side, not able to stick it. And Eagle losing 1 stroke on the starting hole. I believe the bigger effect than losing the actual stroke is gonna be the hit on his putting confidence, as he's already missed a first putt on the first hole.
A valid point, especially moving to hole 2, a hole which is incredibly difficult to get to the circle off the tee on. This 105-meter par 3 has a very specific straight to leftwards moving fairway. You see this gap as the drone flies. The most common line for a lot of these players is a high-speed overstable disc on a steep hyzer angle low to the ground in order to catch some skips and flares, utilizing as much ground play as possible to move to the left as far as possible. Even very good shots often ending in circle 2. A difficult birdie to find, and a lot of players happy to walk away with the 3. We see Miro up first, looking like a nice aggressive line on the hyzer, pushes it with some huge skips up to circle 1. One of the best shots I have ever seen on hole 2.
That was very impressive. Miro able to push the inside route. There's this one tree in the middle of the gap that you have to choose whether to go inside or outside. Looks like Niklas was also trying to go inside, but possibly just hitting the tree and kicking to the fairway. But yeah, what an impressive shot from Miro. An eagle going more towards the outside, and that was just pushed too far straight.
And Matt now has been shown the line as well as a few deviations, and he fires a nice shot, pushing long of that thoughtfully placed tree in the fairway. And we see him curl up as well within putting distance. Difficult to state just how incredible those shots are. Very few players even left with a putt here on hole 2.
Yeah, actually only 3% of the field getting inside the circle with their first shot. So telling just how impressive both Miro's and Matt's shots were. And Niklas and Eagle here, they're gonna have to make some pretty good approaches. Niklas is going with this trusty overstable approach disc, believe that is either a C-line tactic or a C-line MD5. Puts it in the circle, should be no problem for there.
Eagle with a soft, overstable bid at the basket slides it up nicely, ensuring to connect with the earth before the basket and let the ground play finish it forwards. We see Matt Bell putting towards the downslope now, left of the basket from the tee. It's directly behind it for him.
Looks like he does possibly stay on top. Miro here, even from a closer distance. Great birdie. On a hole that is not very often birdied, he's not only getting strokes on this card, but also getting strokes on the majority of the field.
Absolutely. One of only 2 players on the day to find that birdie. We see Niklas for par here.
And what a great start from Miro, especially since he's by far the least experienced player of the group. And I would assume he's probably feeling at least some nerves going into this big situation.
You did touch in round 2 on Miro's mental game. Staying very well composed for a young man, has a good control over his emotions, but I'm sure not immune to the nerves of the final round lead card at a major tournament.
Which probably none of these guys honestly are. If they've still got the competitive fire, I'm sure they still have some nerves. Moving on to hole 3.
Hole 3 is a 140-meter par 4, playing initially uphill with this gap between the tree line to the left and the right. You want a piercing shot that battles up the hill to roughly about 60 to 70 meters is the sweet spot. You then have this traditional mulch tunnel down the left to access the green, or if you fire a little bit long, a less traditional route to the right side of where the drone is flying. Either way, you want to access this sloped green and settle your disc nice and soft. The hard exposed earth, as well as the slope, can contribute to some really nasty rollaways and make it very difficult to stick close to the basket, even with a good upshot.
Miro is going for this inside route and still going with some heavy hyzer angle on the disc. Cutting the corner a little bit, but he has still gone towards the outer fairway of the 2. So gonna have a bit of a flex forehand or just a very soft backhand straight to hyzer shot from there.
Niklas pushing this height significantly more, and as he looks to crash the tunnel, does find himself also split between the 2. That forehand flex, as you mentioned, shaping very nicely for that intermediate position between the 2 tunnels.
An eagle here, I believe, going with the mid-range. Pushing it too far straight, that is a very surprising miss. It's a pretty wide fairway as far as distance control. And Matt here also going for the inside, going very inside. Trying to cut the corner, and he's got pretty good ways to the left and only will have about 40 or 45 meters left to the baskets.
Great progress leftwards. Eagle looking to shape a grenade up in the sky and spike something down in a very compromised position, able to get progress up the fairway from a standstill with that line. And unclear how far from the basket he spiked down. Although, as I mentioned, very easy to get up there, at least a little bit. We see Miro now shaping the forehand approach.
Gonna leave himself with a long putt there. Not exactly result he was looking for. You can see he hit some early branches. And Matt Bell here, also a very touchy shot. Not a far distance. And just look at the touch he has. I'm not sure what that yellow disc is that he's throwing, but it's some sort of an overstable fairway driver, and he has got incredible touch with that particular disc.
Speaking of touch, we see Niklas there with just the most gentle hyzer forehand, and he puts himself right underneath the basket, executed to perfection by Niklas Anttila. This is Eagle's chance now from the grenade at a birdie, but likely laying it up. understanding the potential risk of running that and going long, could be leaving himself well deep into circle 2 and opts to take the safe par instead. But for Miro, he does not abide by the safe par. An incredible putt at a critical moment now to take the solo lead in this tournament at 24 under, having a perfect first 3 holes of this final round.
And let's take another look at that. Look at the perfectly straight, flat putting motion. Just the smallest fade at the end. That was going in the whole way. And he looks calm. Not really any visible nerves. As we see Matt Bell also with a good birdie. He's a little bit behind the lead. A little bit behind the top 3 guys of Miro, Niklas and Eagle here. But still well in position to hopefully make a charge for some of those podium positions.
Our players continue their walk to hole 4, a 77-meter par 3, although playing a significantly more. This is a steeply uphill fairway the entire way, so steep in fact that the basket is completely blind from the tee. Players will need to push a long hyzer up the hill, flip it up to flat, and have a soft leftwards finish. That is purely optional though, the leftwards finish. Really, any straight shot that hits the distance just right will put yourself in a good position and likely within the circle. An understable mid-range or fairway for most players to navigate the uphill.
It's not the tightest gap, but definitely a gap you need to think about hitting. As Miro has done perfectly. You see that slight hyzer angle, keeping the height of the disc only about 1 meter above the hillside. And he's in the bullseye there. Niklas also usually very good at this shot. But he's going a little bit early left, but he gets through the last branches just around them. And that's also just outside the bullseye. Couple of great shots to start. Let's see if the other guys can keep it up.
Matt here coming out a little bit early, but a fortunate kick to the right. Early left can prevent you from having any reasonable look at the putt, but given the open kick, may be able to manufacture something if he chooses to get aggressive and hunt the birdies as the holes run out. Every hole, a significant moment now. Eagle McMahon with an incredible shot shaping the fairway. Coming up also just outside bullseye's edge, we have Matt up first from deep circle 2 looking uphill.
A lot of branches in the way. You can see he had to go with the very direct, powerful putting motion. Just coming off low. That's already the 3rd circle 2 putt that he has just barely missed in the first 4 holes. As we see everybody else on the card, just gonna tap in for their birdies. As to be expected, this hole was actually birdied by 40% of the field. So you're losing strokes to not only the leaders, but also a lot of the field with a par on this hole.
And considerably nicer weather here on day 3. The rains have left us for a moment and the winds have died down. Beautiful scoring conditions to decide your champion here today. We continue to hole 5, a 160-meter par 4 uphill. This initial tee shot needing to get through this gap between these 2 pine trees. Once you get through, you want to have a soft finish towards the right, positioning yourself into the second half of the fairway. Anywhere right about here is the sweet spot, allowing an open look with a left to right shot into the green. A lot of players, if they have it, will play a more spiky forehand hyzer. The backhand spike hyzer over the trees is also a very possible backdoor route to enter the green, where you have this basket tucked away. Another attackable hole that players can really look to pick up the birdie on. Eagle even making it to circle 2 off the tee in round 2.
It's all about the drive on this one. If you get a clean drive, it's pretty simple. Miro here going for the conventional turnover shot. And he has been pretty much perfect on this hole. And that's another just perfect shot. Just on the left side of the fairway. Gonna open up that forehand hyzer approach.
We see limited progress up the fairway there from Niklas. Still potential for the birdie though. Eagle, I think, looking to absolutely smash this high turnover. Similar to yesterday's round. He's shaping this up the fairway and the drone tracking it definitely looks like it came in with a lot of speed. His final position still yet to be determined.
Yeah, I believe Eagle not quite turning it over enough or in time to make it to anywhere near where he was in round 2. As we see Matt Bell also throwing a well-shaped turnover there. Gonna have just fine position to throw that high forehand hyzer to the green. Niklas with a much longer approach here. Probably gonna have about 90 to even 100 meters left to the green. He's got a great angle on this forehand though. This needs to go. Wow, what a great shot there. He's on the edge of the circle. Or just outside from almost 100 meters away.
Perfectly matched the shape of the fairway naturally with that forehand flex. We see Eagle looking up and over now. Once again trying to play over the trees to the right and spike into the green. The cameraman flips and you see Eagle's disc descend along with a branch, doing some course maintenance while he is at it. Also looking to secure his birdie, seeming very likely on hole 5 as he is that close. Matt, the most traditional way to play this hole, getting himself up there and then playing the forehand hyzer into the green.
And look at Miro, just a slow approach disc forehand here. He's so far down the fairway. And he's gonna have his 5th birdie in a row with that approach within tap-in distance. Really pushing the pace early on this round. Putting a lot of pressure on the other guys. This is a big putt from Niklas. Not to lose a stroke to Miro and most likely to Eagle as well.
Amazing delivery from Niklas Anttila. Circle 2 looking uphill. Finds his 4th birdie through 5 holes with that. An Eagle now from just within the circle. Fires off the right side. Eagle just not connecting on the green today despite some great throwing. Has given himself chances time and time again, but finding metal, not enough to stick it. Matt Bell, however, securing his birdie there in the way I believe the course designer intended. An Eagle tapping in his par with Miro Ryhänen tapping in yet another birdie to put himself 5 down through 5 and 26 under total. We move on to hole 6. Another slightly uphill par 4, although this one significantly longer and a slightly more difficult to shape hole. At 223 meters, you need a good bomb off the tee moving straight and then to the right. The biggest mistake you can make is going too early to the right. Any backhand that hyzers out or forehand that flips up will play a little bit more friendly as you then navigate up the hill to this very treacherous green. You have the basket perched atop a rock with slopes on all sides. Anything that comes in too hot or a little bit wide to the green can very quickly get punished with the rollaway. Hole 6 did play as one of the most difficult for all 3 rounds, and a 4 went a very long way. The 3, very difficult to find. Miro perfect so far in this round 3.
And this is straight shot. You would like to get it turned over more than that, but that is just a fine position. He's still gonna have great look at the birdie although the approach will be a little bit longer than he would like. I think what really tells about the difficulty of this most difficult hole of the course is that there was more double bogeys on the hole than there were birdies. So very difficult birdie to get, and it can punish you pretty quickly. As we saw Niklas going for a pretty conservative low shot, just keeping it in the middle of the fairway, leaving a difficult approach, but also possible to get to the circle from there.
Matt here also looking to shape the long turning backhand, but finds the fade significantly early in the flight, and as a result bleeds out to the left near the island of, I believe, hole 9.
And Eagle possibly can take big advantage of his distance on this hole, but he has faded out left early, and that is not an ideal position. He's gonna have many small trees to contend with on the second shot there. And looks like Miro once again is in the best position of the group, putting a lot of pressure on his card mates, and I'm impressed with Miro not really showing any nerves.
Yeah, great composure from that young man. I'm not sure if he's been on coverage at an A tier before in his career, although has had great success. Really managed to find some fantastic poise and a great execution to his game plan despite the circumstances. As we see, he has a very pinched hyzer shot now, just trying to get into the fairway and leave himself with a stress-free par most likely, and he's done just that.
Yep. Long circle 2. Circle 2's edge there. Pretty much an unrunnable putt. He's going to have an easy par. Kind of spoke over Matt Bell's shot that went into the right side woods. Niklas here throwing a very technical turnover shot. Needs to land it soft near the basket, which he lands it pretty soft, but you can see that fast green with all the mulch and the rocks still leaving Niklas about 15 meters long. And he's going to have a decision to make whether he wants to run that or not.
Eagle here with some great distance off the tee, although out of position. Once again looking to play over the top, up and down. Crashing the green as well. Smashing into the rocks. Will be slightly closer than Niklas, although also now contending with an extremely dangerous putt. And at a very critical moment, Miro is sitting at 26 under with both Eagle and Niklas at 24 under. I think those two players, Eagle and Niklas, aware of the circumstances. We see Matt from his lie needing to scramble. Shapes a Sky Annie into the green.
Yep, good shot there within putting distance. I believe he's gonna be just on the edge of the circle. Probably prefers to be just outside to take that small hop putt. Looks like Niklas is going for this one. Huge putt, and he has airballed it. Pretty good speed control though, not going more than 7 meters past the basket. Still a very makeable putt.
And Miro, almost stone cold at an incredibly dangerous putt, just a little bit low. Matt Bell to give his bid now at this scary putt, and he goes way down there. Also catching air on the right side. Had a lot of speed and will be left with a long putt back up the hill as he takes a moment and finds his breath. This is his lie, also now contending with branches so far down there. Catching foliage on his way, is left now in circle 1 along with Eagle.
This is a big putt to get one stroke back, and he has missed it once again. Eagle's putter letting himself down on the green. Already, I believe that was already the third missed putt of the round. As Niklas cleans it up. Very calm and collected there. That was another important putt. I feel like every stroke on this course is very important, as many of the holes are not incredibly punishing this hole 6 being one of the more punishing holes on the course. But it is just very difficult to make many strokes up, especially on these top 3 players that are playing just phenomenal throughout the first 2 and the start of this third round.
Hole 6 averaging 4.36 as a par 4, coming in as the most difficult of the day. Hole 7, a 108-meter par 3. You have that initial high floor, once again encouraging a nose-up release angle. You see the fairway go straight and then ever so softly to the right. It does play most naturally for the turnover backhand with a understable mid-range or fairway, or even a more stable disc released on anhyzer from the hand. You can also play the forehand hyzer, although I think all 4 of these players likely looking to turn over the backhand and flatten out at the end.
And Miro here going with a fairway driver. Some people going with a mid-range, but he chooses the faster disc. And look at that angle control. What a beautiful shot from Miro. Going even a little bit long, but still, I believe, inside the circle there. Once again, putting the pressure on the other guys. Although I know Niklas is very comfortable with these types of shots. He's going with his old trusty FD. And once again, just look at this angle.
Oh,
wow.
Incredible run from Niklas, and firing long ends up just next to Miro's lie. Both of them with quite the aggressive turnover line, flashing just by the chains. Eagle looking to have a slightly lower speed here in his hand. Has given it the height, but the turn coming in a little bit early. Doesn't flatten out at the end and is at about circle's edge to the right side. Not a bad result by any means.
Yeah, it's another very birdieable hole. You would love to get the birdie on this hole, and especially don't bogey it, since it's one of the more forgiving holes on the course. Only 10% of the field getting the bogey. And even with Matt's poor position here off the drive, still a very manageable approach, although he takes a terrible kick off the rock into the woods, and he's gonna have a difficult C2 putt here. Let's see if he can make it.
He is in and then he is out. Matt Bell, his putter sneaking over the rim each way. Unfortunately, unable to connect with that.
As Matt is going to be over par for the round. And Miro, very surprising putting error there. Just a little bit left, too far left, high in the chains. And Niklas here from the same exact position, looking to pick up a stroke.
Slips a little bit and finding left side chains, sticks it in. A very critical moment as Niklas bridges that gap between him and Miro by 1 stroke. This is Eagle now for his chance at the birdie from about 7 or 8 meters. Continues to have some woes on the putting green, and you see his reaction there, just letting it out and moving on. Very frustrating for him as he is throwing quite well and repeatedly giving himself chances to birdie. Sometimes even more frustrating to throw well and putt badly than to just throw badly and have difficult pars. To be taking pars that were easy birdies hurts just that little extra more, especially in the final round at this critical point in the tournament. We will see if he can find the birdie here. Hole 8, a 71-meter par 3. You see the traditional tunnel shot as the drone flies here. You have a straight to slightly right curving early on in the fairway, and then back to the left towards the end of the fairway. The overstable flex shot shapes very nicely. Some players will even opt to go over the top with a grenade, backhand hyzer, or forehand spike hyzer. A lot of options here to try and secure the two.
Yep, almost a must-get birdie. 44% of the field getting that birdie on this hole in this final round. Niklas going with the traditional slight flex shot. And wow, what a beautiful angle control once again. Kind of like the last hole, but even better this time, just 5 meters away.
Miro lacing this right down the middle, even with a soft skip to control the speed. Pinpoint accuracy from him.
And Eagle has been going grenade on this hole, which is a very good play. Trees once again are not super high on this one, all about getting that angle with the grenade. And very similar position to round 2. He's inside the circle there, just a little bit short. Very makeable putt, although possibly nervy with his putting errors so far.
And Matt there getting one up to straight, but kicking left early on in the flight. Still has a little bit of distance remaining to the green. Maybe able to manufacture a putt. Actually, a very friendly kick there. No worries on his position. Has the look at birdie. And just shy right for Matt. Coming off some struggles on 6 and 7. We'll be having the par here on 8. Eagle McMahon for an important birdie chance. And finally able to translate one of these putts, getting himself to 2 under through the first 8 and 25 under total.
Important putt for the confidence there. Although he's not gaining strokes on the other guys. Unless something weird happens here. Niklas is usually very consistent from close distance. And that's what he does. Once again, going 6 under through the first 8 holes. Matching Miro's pace. Wow, what a battle we've got. And quick shout out on this hole 8 for acing the hole, Hjalmar Fredriksson. Great young player from Sweden, getting the hole in one on this short hole 8.
Very cool. Well done, Hjalmar. Hole 9 you see here. A 79-meter par 3 softly downhill. This is an island hole. A very generous island, about 12 to 15 meters. There is a lot of room to play with and a lot of lines available to our competitors depending on their skill sets as well as the conditions of the wind. You can play a backhand spike hyzer, the forehand low hyzer, the straight shot with the putter. Really comes down to your confidence with the low speed discs. We have Niklas up first with, I believe, his trusty sensei in the hands. A soft hyzer angle, never even getting up to flat, and left side the whole way, but still in the circle. A really nice straight pushing flight.
For the majority of the day, there was the slightest left to right headwind on this hole. So this forehand is going to be pushed more to the right than normal. And Miro, just on the edge of the island, but he has stayed safe. That is a huge break for him, because if he had missed the island, he would have gone to the drop zone with a penalty stroke. Now he still has a chance for the birdie. Eagle has to miss the last tree here, which he does perfectly. Good touch there.
Amazing touch, seeing that disc bounce up and down in the wind. Just perfectly dead straight, hyzer up to flat. A crucial moment for Eagle. We see Matt now having some struggles on the last few holes. Pulls it out wide, but swings it back in, and he'll be looking uphill from just within the circle, about 8 or so meters.
Yep, nobody missing the green, even with a couple of these errant shots. And Miro, what a putt. Crucial, huge moment, going 7 under through the front 9. Making it from – upwards to 13 or 14 meters.
Really incredible from Miro there. Matt now from just inside the circle, similar to the putt on hole 8, low and right side cage. Particularly putting uphill cage can be a frustrating result, as we will see Niklas now to match Miro and keep the gap to only 1 stroke.
Well done there. That was in the middle of the basket, and he's also 7 under through the front. Eagle with a less than ideal 3 under, but still well within the mix, only 2 strokes back off the lead. And Matt Bell there, unfortunately, finishing +1 for the front 9. But luckily for him, and luckily for our competition, there's a lot of birdieable holes on the back 9.
Ready to be smashed by our lead card. Some incredible action in this front 9. And as we take a look at the current standings, we see Miro Ryhänen leading the tournament in first place at 28 under. Niklas so far matching his front 9 at 7 under, sits at 27, 1 stroke behind him. Eagle 1 stroke behind Niklas at 26 under. Oyvind Jarens at 20 under. We see from our lead card Matt Bell with a few struggles and a bit of a roller coaster in this front 9, but some incredible action as the field heats up and battles for these final positions. We appreciate you joining us here for this absolutely exciting front 9. And make sure to join us on the back 9. Leave a like, comment, and subscribe to support us, or check out the Patreon. Elias, it's always a pleasure.
Thank you, Connors. Thank you, viewers, and see you guys on the back 9.